Welcome back, everybody, to another podcast.
Podcast number 4.
So this one, we're going to talk about college, because it's been almost a year since I'm going to quote, graduated, because we never got a graduation.
We'll get to that later.
So we both went to Keene, but I was there all 4 years, and she was only there for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll just start from when we actually got there. So freshman year, you have to go to an orientation, which is a week long, right, before the rest of the school comes. So basically what they would do is they have move-in day, and then you have like a squad leader, and with the squad leader, in moving day, there was at a time, at 2 p.m., meet up with your squad for your clap-in, and after your clap-in, whatever, things just moved really, really fast. It's okay, say goodbye to your parents now. Say goodbye. Now we have meetings and things to do. So I didn't even have time to fully unpack. I didn't have time for a proper goodbye with my parents, because all of a sudden they were just pushing you. They're all right, say bye. But you're doing this and this and that. And I didn't even know. My aunt came in to help move me too, and she was the one that noticed a paper on the wall that said, 2 p.m. you have to go meet up with your squad. And I was like, what? But we just got here and I haven't finished unpacking. And I was hoping to spend that whole day with my family, walking around Keene, unpacking, saying goodbye, maybe having dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that. And then my mom came back that night after everything with Maka, because it was literally they shoved everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, I really did not like it. For the whole week, I was just so unhappy, because they were just making you do things that I didn't want to do. And it's not let's make, it was them trying to go, let's have everyone, make friends and, and do this. And everyone can get used to the college campus. But let me say, for a person like me, that's the worst thing you can do.
Same.
It's just, if you push me too far, it's just not going to help me. I need time to adjust and, be okay, this is my new home away from home.
Mm-hmm.
I need a breather. But instead, they're okay, you need to be into the cafeteria at 7 a.m. We got a whole long thing to do, all day. And you didn't have, time to explore on your own. It was you do this and then you go to bed. You do this and you go to bed. And then, they're making you do community service, which, I'm fine with, but you didn't get to choose what you did. So I got stuck on a farm moving branches.
It was all randomized, and some groups definitely got better community service than others.
Some got to, because it was really hot. Remember, this is, the summer. And so, I was hot. All of us were, sweating, moving branches for this, farm. Some other people got to just play with dogs. Some other people just got to sort through costumes and organize them. And I was like, why am I getting down and dirty compared to everybody else?
That was the community service that I had when I had my orientation. My group helped sort out costumes in this little warehouse thing. So we were basically, moving, big racks, carrying, things into, a moving truck and moving that around.
Yeah, I'm not saying community service is bad, but I wish they kind of just let you pick, sign up.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, because you're a squad, you're just forced to go.
They didn't call it a squad for us. It was just your orientation group and your orientation leader.
I don't think they call it a squad, but that's pretty much what it is. It's like a little squad.
Yeah.
I think their goal was to have you make friends, but it did the opposite, because I made none.
I didn't make any either.
So overall, it was just
you thought it was extremely wet.
Stressful.
Okay.
It was an extremely stressful for me. I hated it. I hated every single moment of it. It was not there's not one part where we went, oh, this is kind of fun. Oh, I get it. No, I did not make friends. We were all they didn't really, I don't know. I was just forced into situations that I didn't really want to do. Play games with these people and stuff. I was I'm too old. I feel like I'm back in elementary school. Mm. Yeah, that was my experience. And let me tell you, it did not help kick me off any better for the year. Because I think it was also trying to prepare you. It did not at all. I was just extremely unhappy. And I think it would have gone better if I was able to, do my proper goodbyes and, like, have a nice, calm first day. But instead, like, they threw you right into the fire. And they're like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And you're like, ow, that is my toe. And
then I think I don't remember what day this ended. I don't remember if we even got a day in between it or if we had, like, classes, like, the very next day after the last day.
I think we had maybe the weekend, if anything.
Yeah, I think there might have been.
And because I'm an introvert, I need time to, like, re-energize, and I didn't get that before classes started, so I was just, like, very, like, wide-eyed, like, oh my god, this is too much. Like, I just wanted a day to be with my family. I would probably would have been more okay if they started everything the next day when my parents weren't here and I wasn't trying to move in or sleep in a brand new place, because it's hard to sleep in a new brand place. There's new noises, a different environment. It's really hard to get used to that. And not only that, they're also like, we suggest that you don't go back home anytime soon so you can get used to it. So, like, ripping off a Band-Aid. So I didn't go home for over a month, which was the wrong choice for me. But my dog Maka also went into depression. She wouldn't respond to her name. She wouldn't move off the couch. She wouldn't wag her tail. She wouldn't even go outside. Like, she was really worse off. So I had to come home every weekend, and it took her a month before she came out of it. And she got better more and more and more. But, don't listen to them. Do what's best for you.
Yeah.
If you need to go home that weekend, go home that weekend. Or if you do need, to take a month to get used to things, not go home, do that too. Just because they say, oh, you shouldn't go home for a month, like, rip it off like a Band-Aid, and I listened to them, and that was just a totally wrong thing for me. Just do what you need to do for you, because that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I know some people it'd be hard for them to go home every weekend, like we're able to, because they might be from out of state, or they might not have transportation. But basically, if you're doing that, try to find different ways to help with your homesickness if you have it.
Zoom.
It's gonna be different for everybody. You might need a Zoom call. You might want to, like, find an activity to do that reminds you of home. You might just not want to think of home at all, and just, like, fully immerse yourself. Just basically just find something that works for you and do that to help ease your way into it.
Yeah. So fast forward my 2 years before I actually came, nothing happened. I always had a hard time making friends because, Keene is really close to where we live, and most people go to Keene with friends. So when you go, most people already have their groups. They already have their friends. I'm not saying people aren't friendly, because they are. I never came across, like, a super rude person. Or anything. They're all pretty welcoming. But I just didn't find my place there. And then when Ashley came, it was a lot better for me. I actually started going to the cafeteria, and I had more of a routine. But Ashley can take it away from when she came 2 years later.
Yeah, so my college experience was a little different. So I guess, I don't know, it's called, like, untraditional or whatever, but there are quite a few people do it. So I started my first 2 years in a community college. Basically, my college experience was very chaotic, all over the place. Did not go to what I wanted to do.
You had a hard time getting there because of the winter, because you had to drive?
That's not even what I was talking about.
No, but that's what I was
talking about, like, getting into college.
Oh, I was just thinking about you trying to get there.
Yeah, too. Hey, Maka. But, oh yeah, Manchester, I hated it. So basically, what I wanted to do was I wanted to branch out. I wanted to try to, like, gain some independence. So I was really looking forward to, like, going and, like, living in a dorm where it's like I could be independent, but, like, not, like, fully so. Like, it was still, like, my own little area, and I could, like, learn better how to take care of myself while also having, like, support and help and everything, and not being, like, completely, like, locked out of, like, home and whatever.
Right, because it's far where someone would have to tell you that they're coming, but not far enough where you can't do a day trip if you really needed to.
So basically, I wanted to go right out of high school. I wanted to go to a 4-year school. And you just want love.
She's replacing Winnie today because Winnie's on a walk.
Yeah. Trying again? You want to take over the conversation?
What was it like for you, Maka, when I was in college?
So I wanted to go to a 4-year school right out of high school, but so first, like, my guidance counselor in high school was not very good.
I don't find that a lot of them tend to be.
Some of them were good. Mine was not. He, like, didn't listen. It's also hard because, like, our high school had a couple thousand students. So when they only had, like, I'd say less than 24 counselors. I don't even think they had a dozen.
Not enough to deal with the amount of students there.
No, not nearly enough. But basically, so I was applying kind of late because I was running through, like, I had, like, a whole bunch of, like, existential problems. I won't get into this podcast.
It's really stressful trying to apply for college when you're doing the type of work that we had to do in college.
And especially, like, where they were making it, like, this whole thing, they were making it really stressful. You had to fill out everything. It was just a really stressful process.
It is.
And I was stressed out because I didn't know what I wanted to go into college doing. I decided last minute. I decided where I wanted to go last minute. So everything was last minute. I was extremely stressed. I was basically getting no help or support. It was super hard to get into, like, see your counselor or whatever. And basically when I told him where I wanted to go and, like, what I was trying to do and asked what I need, he basically told me I couldn't do it. He was like, you can try, I don't think you'll get in at this point. So I was like,
at some point,
thanks.
you got to accept the bluntness, but at the same time for a struggling high school, well, not struggling, but at the time, having a hard time.
Getting a random phone call.
That's really not the best thing to say.
No.
It should be like, you can try, but
and also, Keene State had rolling admissions, so that means there wasn't really an application date. They would accept you throughout however long. You can apply whenever and get in. Like, they had, like, due-by dates, but it didn't. So anyways, I applied anyways. I got accepted, and then due to, what's the word? I'm trying, like, discommunication. What's the word? Disagreement in my family.
You were persuaded.
Yelled at not to go. I was told not to go, so even though I was accepted, I had to turn it down, and I started at community college.
I do have to say the only bonus to you doing that is that her tuition is nowhere near the amount that I have to pay.
My loans are like a quarter of hers. So like, mine are not bad. So that's like the one thing I'm grateful for.
Yes.
Is the low tuition rates. I was able to get like a decent amount of like federal like student aid for it. And I did have some really good teachers that I loved at that school with some really interesting classes. But it was about half an hour away.
She ran up there.
So I had to commute every day. The only way to get there was to take the highway, which I hate. I hate going on the highway. I try not to take it when I can. But that was the only way to get there unless you wanted to take a detour on back roads, which was like an hour long.
But for those who are not around the area, that particular highway is just not a good highway, period.
Yeah. If you know 93 South or just 93 North, well, I went I-93 in New Hampshire because it was Manchester Community College, I can say, because I'm not there anymore. So you can get there from I-93, or you can take 293, which you get on through 93 anyways. Anyways, that was basically the only way you could get there unless you wanted to take an hour detour. I hated it. I had so many problems with, like, traffic. I had to, like, deal with the rush hour. I hated commuting. I absolutely hated it. I did not want to commute. And what did I do every day?
I can imagine it's stressful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got into a couple accidents, both on the way to school. That'll be for another podcast. We have
to say though, it was like snow related and car problem. It wasn't Ashley being stupid.
No, they were single car. Nobody else was involved. I'm fine. I was totally fine. One of them worse than the other, but both on path to or from school. So yeah, and then afterwards, so in New Hampshire there's a school system that makes it easy to transfer from one of the 6 community colleges into 4 of the 4-year universities. So basically it makes it like an easy path to easily like transfer your credits up into one to make an easy like transition over. so they work, like, together. Easier said than done.
That's very true.
Because, like, what they have is a good idea. It might have worked for others. For me, it was a pain. So I had a lot of issues transferring credits because so they were lower level courses, obviously, because they're your gen eds, your beginning levels that you take there and get out of the way.
I feel like when you're going to college and you have to take gen eds, can I just say it just feels like you're back in high school and it's redundant. Like, you're going there for a purpose, and that should take up most, if not all, of your classes. But instead they're like, here's a science class, here's a math class. And
you're
like,
completely unrelated.
They're like, take an English class. You're like, why am I paying for these classes that I do not need anymore?
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry. It just makes me so mad that you're paying to go to college, to go for film or psychology, and you're forced to do these classes that you don't need anymore because you've already did it in high school.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue. It just makes
Some
me
high
so
school
mad.
courses are like college level, so they have enough credits that they will transfer into college. Ours were not the case. But anyways, so the courses I took at MCC were usually only up to 3 credits. So it didn't transfer over evenly into others. So some courses qualify to take the place of others at Keene State. Others didn't. And because, like, the different credit numbers, I had a lot of, like, missing credits here and there.
Yeah, can I say how weird it is? It wasn't worth the 4. Because I only had one class that was less than 4 credits.
I don't know the reason. I think it's just because it's community college and, like, the levels or whatever you learn. I don't know the reason behind it, but it's a pain in the ass because I had to, like, to puzzle piece different things. I had to, like, cram in, like, different courses that would, like, cover requirements in the different sections. And it was really troublesome for me. My guidance counselor at Keene State, he was really good. He was better than
mine.
Yeah. Because I actually had one consistently. Although I didn't, like, really talk to him much because I'm not really a person that goes and seeks out a lot of help, even though I probably could have used it. I think it's a lot of the time because I'm just like, I don't know what help I need, so I don't know when to seek it out.
I know that I had to go and demand help multiple times. Because, so when I first started in freshman year with my courses, they ended up changing the catalog like a year or 2 later, and because of that, it messed things up, and it said I had to take classes, but I didn't. And then I had to replace classes because they got rid of them, and I didn't have the chance to take them from my catalog. So then I had to replace things. I had to get signed into things. It was just... It was
complicated. So basically, and then I think for some reason I didn't get to choose my first semester classes at Keene State. I don't know if you did, but mine were already pre-chosen for me by my counselor.
For mine, what happened was I met with my advisor. It was like we would wait in line. I happened to go to my advisor. I don't know if that was on purpose or I just happened to sit down with her. And she went through my credits with me and helped me decide. I gotta say, when she helped me decide, my schedule was crap, but when I was able to decide on my own, I made really good schedules. Ashley can attest to that. I had long days, but I only had 2 days a week. Because film classes tend to be 1 day a week that are like 4 hours long. So I was able to get away with like 2, maybe sometimes 3 days a week.
Yeah, so what was I saying?
Your classes were chosen for you?
Yeah, so I didn't get to choose my first one, so I had like a bit of a panic because I was like, I was okay with the ones that were given to me, but then at the same time I was like, after a little while later, I was like, wait, do I need to be in this class? I should be in something else. And I think I ended up staying with the ones that I was put in, and it ended up working out in the end, but I was just like, I should have taken something different that would have been more relevant. So I didn't like get that. I don't think I got that initial so I think first I had a counselor who was like the head or something. I don't know. I think she like left or like handed over some of the students or something, so I got put with my counselor for the rest of the time. But yeah,
because that's what happens. Because I officially got a new advisor, and then I got handed over when she left for a trip. I've had a lot of advisors.
So yeah, it was very confusing. Where was I going to move on from this? So I guess from this I can start into like my orientation.
Go for it, man.
Experience. So, like hers, so before orientation, like about a month in advance, there's like a preview like orientation night or whatever where like new students can go, they stay the night and they can stay with a parent to kind of like introduce. Yes. And it's kind of like a mini orientation.
And Ashley has been to Keene before because she has stayed over my dorm. So it wasn't brand.
But anyways, I didn't do that because they had an option for transfers because I'm a transfer. I've already been in college 2 years, so college isn't a new thing for me, so it wouldn't have been a huge adjustment for me. So I was like, I'm definitely going to do the transfer option because then I feel like it'll be a little bit more catered to me and I won't have all this extra stuff I don't care about and I don't need to know. So I did that, and that was just like a day trip. So I drove there in the morning and left in the afternoon. So it was a long day because it was a 2-hour drive. Bumping into stuff. So I did that. So I was put in a transfer group, I guess, but for my orientation group, but it was only me and like a couple other people that were transfers. The rest were all first years. And God, I felt so bad for my orientation leader. I was actually in a few classes with her afterwards over the next 2 years. And I just felt so bad for her because the freshmen that she had were absolutely so obnoxious. They gave her such a hard time. They were just being like little freshman douches.
That was not my experience. Everyone was pretty polite in my
She was just like so stressed all the time. And she was just, I know at one point, because we had like these closing meetings with them or whatever, and she was like, thanks so much for like being easy to work with. And I'm just like, honestly, I feel so bad for you because they're just so annoying. And they would just always like backtalk her, not listen to her directions.
I can't even imagine.
It was so stupid. Me and the other transfers were just there like, can you not? Can you just be a decent human beings?
You guys should have, the transfers should have got their own orientation leader.
See, that's what I was going to get to because we had to go for the full week of like orientation, so we had to do all the incoming things, and we were just there like, why do we need to be doing this? We could be doing our own things. Like her, I'm the type of person where I get used to things by getting to explore them myself, getting to see them firsthand.
Yeah, take your own time with it.
That's what I did in high school. It was usually me and my cousins. We would go to the school before school started during the summer, and we would walk around the campus to find our classes.
See, I wish I knew that was a thing because I would
We just did it and we didn't get yelled at, so because I think we called ahead the first time or a couple times, and they didn't care because we had an adult with us too.
I always pre-looked up the maps because our high school's pretty big, and you had like 8 minutes, and then our last year was only like 6 to 7 minutes to get to your classes, and it's like the size of a college campus almost.
Yeah, it's been proven to take 10 minutes to get from one end of campus to the other.
And imagine me with asthma trying to run across campus and up all these. It was just difficult.
And me with my little legs trying to run.
Anyways, I would look up beforehand and I would ask my other friends, like, do you know where this class is? It was just so stressful.
Yeah, so I would go in. It was stressful. And I did that in college too. I went beforehand to try and find my classes because it's a lot less stressful on the first day. So I heavily recommend, if they don't give you a time to go and find your classes, find a time yourself. You might have to check when buildings are open. Yeah. But go ahead and just like search around the area yourself and find where you need to go. It's so much less stressful on the first day. You already know where you're going. You know how much time it gets there. So if you're like somebody who runs late a lot or just likes to be prepared or you have like anxiety or something, that's something really helpful to do.
Yeah, see, with my anxiety, I always left early.
I tried to, but I have time management problems.
Well, I was in band, and they said if you're on time, you're late. And because of that being drilled into my brain for 4 years of my life, I'm early to the on time. Yeah. And because it stressed me out if I'm not on time or early. And sometimes that's where me and Ashley will clash. Just, it's not like we don't actually like fight, but then like both of our anxieties are like roaring because, oh my God, I'm not going to be there early. We always get there on time, but it doesn't matter what it's like.
Because I have like this issue where it's like it goes a full circle. Like I get anxiety if I get there late, But at the same time, like, sometimes in my brain, like, I'll start getting ready on time, but just stuff will happen, or, like, just something goes wrong in, like, my time.
90% of the time she's late.
And I don't understand how. It just happens. Yeah. But I'll get there late, and then I'll be super stressed getting there, because I'm just like, oh my god, I'm late. It makes me so anxious, but I'm just like, I can't get out of it. So that's just a hellscape for me, personally, like, in general, like, day to day.
Yeah, but me getting so stressed out to be there early is also not good.
Yeah.
Because I would leave pretty early and just sit outside my classes or sit there for like almost 30 minutes just waiting. Just because I was like, I have to be there on time. And I have to be ready. Because also in high school, you have to be ready before the teacher starts. So not only do you need to get there in the 6 to 8 minutes, but your stuff already has to be out on your desk and ready to go before the bell rings. So that's also where that probably stress came from.
So I took a tangent. So back to orientation. I don't remember getting like a specific time to search for stuff. I don't remember. I think we might have done that when you got there, didn't we? So I was a transfer, obviously, and I went to the orientation week. So I was there before her because she didn't have to come to the orientation, obviously, because she was a junior.
I was also I'm not allowed to move in early, regardless.
Yeah. So here I am, like, with a bunch of freshmen. I'm a junior. I don't know a single soul. So I'm also, again, I'm a person who gets anxious in new situations, especially when I don't know anybody. So I'm, like, even more, like, reserved and curled in, and I'm just, like, having a heart attack the entire time. So it was extremely stressful. And then, because I was an upperclassman, I was in an upperclassman building. I was basically the first one there, so it was unlocked because I was in there. I think our RA was probably already in there. But so that was kind of nice that I had the whole building to myself, so I got to adjust to like some quiet. And actually, after the first day of orientation, I conked out that night, so I was able to sleep.
It's pretty stressful. We had a nice
which is hard because I usually have a lot of sleep problems.
We had 2 floors basically, so I was on one floor and Ashley was on the next floor, which is nice because before Ashley, I had single rooms to myself. So that was my first time actually rooming with somebody, and I was a little concerned for myself because
yeah. See, this is where we're kind of opposite. So she's extremely introverted. But even though I like having time alone to like recharge and just like chill out and whatever, I need people. I was like, I couldn't be in like a single or anything. I would need to be with people.
Yeah, I mean after I lived with Ashley for 2 years, I'm fine with it, and I do like having the other person. But before then, I was like so content to be alone. But it was nice having like another person in there because it wasn't just like.
You're not just staring at a wall
and listening
all the time.
Yeah, to nothing.
She also never knows what random crap I'm gonna put her through either. So I'll be like, "Let's go do this thing." She's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Let's go do it." So I actually got her to do some stuff. Granted, we didn't do too much social stuff.
No, our homework was insane, so we didn't really have time to do much.
Yeah, but
you said we. I'm just saying we didn't do much just because we had a lot of homework to do.
Our conversation is not linear at all. We're going on so many tangents. Anyways, back to orientation. So I went there for the week. Again, like, I didn't make any friends, really. I made, like, a couple acquaintances, but she kind of stopped talking to me in the first year. Like, we went to a random trip to Target just to, like, whatever. And then after that, it's like, she had her own people. I didn't mind. I was like, hey, if you don't want to talk to me, that's fine, whatever.
Really, I get it. I hate myself, too.
Basically. But, so I didn't really have anybody, so I was very lonely, and obviously, like, forced to be in these situations with people I didn't know, which also, like, made me super stressed. And on the very first day, so, like, when we drive in and unpack and everything, I was obviously super anxious, so I felt super bad because I tend to get very, like, kind of, like, snappy and, like, easily frustrated.
I'm the same.
When I'm anxious, so my parents were, like, trying to be like, do you want help with this? I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what I want help with. Fine. So I was just, like, so all over the place. So, like, Mom and Dad, if you're watching, I'm sorry. But it was also, like, they were just itching to leave, which also didn't make me feel any better because they were like, how long do we have to stay? And they're like, can we leave it? I'm like, you guys don't want to stay for the lunch? And they're like, okay, we'll stay for lunch. And then I was like, you guys aren't going to stay for the clap-in? And they're like, no. So, like...
See, my family didn't want to leave. They wanted to stay for dinner, even. So, that's the difference.
Mine was just itching to leave, and that was making me even more anxious, because I'm just like, So yeah, so like the clap-in is like this thing. I hated it in general. Even if they were there, I would have hated it. But basically, the parents and families like line the main path on campus.
Teachers too, right? If they're there.
Probably. I didn't recognize any because obviously I didn't know any yet.
We were also supposed to get a clap out. That's why they clap you in so they can clap you out when you graduate.
Which is like a thing that they did in like elementary school for us too. But anyways, so you walk down this thing and you're like groups and like everybody claps you. I don't like it because I'm just like again, like anxiety thing. But guys, I'm a mess. But so they weren't there for that, and so basically I was just kind of like off on my own, just trying to like figure out things. Luckily, they would, like, tell us ahead of time, like, okay, be at this place at this time for your group activities. Mm-hmm. So we went to, like, different, like, activities where it was, like...
The activities are so stupid.
There was one where we were in a field, like, doing, like, weird games. I don't know. I've blocked most of it out. I don't remember
Did you have to, like, stand in a circle and, like, say something about yourself and then do something? I also have blocked most of it out.
Probably, and I always hated those things.
I hate the introductory stuff. I was like, I'm old enough. If I want to introduce myself, I will. Mm-hmm. Do not force me to, like, know these random people.
Yeah, these people who I'm never going to see because everybody here is a freshman. I am a junior.
Yeah,
Can I not just go on and do my own things that only pertain to me?
Also, in freshman year, they put you in hallways with the people with the same major. I didn't even get to be in the same major hallway with my people, so that's why I also didn't make friends. They put me in the medical wing with the nursing students. So I was this is why I had so much trouble making friends.
I just have trouble making friends in general. I've never been good at it. So if you're my friend and you stuck around, thanks so much. I love you. I appreciate you.
Actually forced me to be her friend pretty much.
Yeah, I forced myself onto her.
I'm terrible to make friends with. People have to approach me first and force themselves onto me, which I'm fine by doing. If you force yourself, like, I'll let you know if it's too much, but...
Yeah. Basically, I'm the type of person people are, like, always... this is also... I feel like this can be, like, a separate podcast, like, what we were like when we were younger in school.
Even worse off than I am now.
Yeah, so I won't say this. I'll save it for another podcast. But, so never been good at making friends. If people come up to me and talk to me, that's great. Like, I can't start a conversation, but I can carry one on. So,
yes, I will accept conversations.
People are always like, you're so quiet and all this, but it's like, nobody ever makes the effort to talk to me. So. Yeah.
Because I'm so quiet, I bet some of my, like, high school, middle school teachers were probably betting that I was going to go off to be a serial killer or something.
Same. Oh my god. So this is like a way tangent, but I remember in 8th grade, I had this math teacher. I think you had her too because she was at your middle school first, and then she came over to mine for 8th grade. So I think Jen had her, Miss Carson. She was a great math teacher. She was a really funny lady. But one day at the beginning of the year, I was just sitting at the desk. So I have a resting murder face, apparently.
Same.
But she was like, Ashley, you look like you want to kill me. Like, you want to run over me with a truck, back up, run over me again, back up, put on metal spiked shoes, rip my insides open, feed me buzzers, hit me with your truck again, and then throw me off a cliff. I am not kidding. Like, I remember, like, what she said. Like, if you were in my math class watching me, like, it was wicked funny, but I was like, oh my god, do I give off that feeling?
There's been times when I've made eye contact with my teacher and I've stared them down until they looked away first.
Couldn't do that.
It's
our math teacher's busting down the door.
He was like making eye contact with me and I was making eye contact with him and he looked away first. He's back in his toy bin.
Oh, it's stuck upside down. All the toys are trapped underneath it.
What is he doing? He's underneath our desk now.
Don't knock over the lights. It should be bummed. Anyways. So orientation, so very stressful.
Oh, what are you doing?
There goes our light.
Next time we're going to have a camera over here prepared just to show you the nonsense.
Well, there goes our camera. There was a lot of unnecessary stuff that I had to go through because I didn't need it, because it wasn't my first go at college and I would have been fine without it. So I wish they had an actual, like, transfer orientation that was way more oriented
and shorter
to transfers. I didn't even learn important things that I should have, like how to print at the school. There was this complicated thing where you had to connect your own computer to, like, the Wi-Fi of the printer, and, like, print it. I never fully understood it and didn't even know if there was, like, a page to bookmark.
They didn't teach me either. I had to figure that out on my own.
Because I think there was, like, one room that they went into and they were going to try to show us how to print, but either, like, they just didn't show us everything, or I think they just got so annoyed at the people in our group that they just quit. So that's how awful the people in my group were. So, like, it wasn't even until, like, senior year I knew how to print. So I think I either just had my own printer. Yeah, I had my own printer. Well. And then in the library, she had to show me how to even use the library. Like, I never used it because I was like, I
never used it either.
Like, I didn't know the resources. I didn't really know the area.
They didn't teach you what... Because they didn't do it to me. They didn't teach you what was most needed. It was all this useless crap for a week that you didn't even, like,
basically
use.
Like, fun and games to make college seem, like, really fun and, like, engaging, meet these new people, which, I mean, it can be.
For the right person.
But I feel, for the right person, but they just didn't, I feel like they should be teaching you, like, the things you actually need to know, like how campus works and everything, the basics to college. Have some, like, I think they should have had, like, specific, like, things like that to go to, and then, like, at night or whatever, have, like, different themed, like, gatherings or areas you could go to, like, mingle and meet people. That way you could go if you wanted to, and if you didn't want to, you didn't have to.
Yeah, because you had to go to these things. You had no choice. They would check you in and out. And I was like, I think if you missed 3, they kick you out, or something like that.
It was something ridiculous, but yeah, orientation
like, you're out of the college.
Took attendance, and it was just, like... They gave you a tour. It wasn't super good, though. It was just, like, through, like, kind of, like, the main way. So they showed you where some of the buildings were. Yeah. Do you remember if there was anything else that, like, I had trouble figuring out because I wasn't told or whatever?
I don't remember, because I do know that I helped Ashley with a little bit of things. I feel like that must have helped you, knowing that I've been there for 2 years.
Yeah, if I didn't have somebody, because, again, being a transfer, even more so, like she said, like, everybody went in having their friends, and... By the time you're a junior, you already have your people.
Everything's established.
So it was... I basically didn't really make any friends.
See, me and Ashley only really started to have more of a group in senior year. And that only started because more of Mariella stuff started happening. And we started becoming busier. And we started to have to talk to more people.
Yeah, we started having to do, like, more, like, group work and everything. And then, like, after we started actually meeting people and started branching out, and then COVID came, and we got kicked out of school.
We're like, oh my god, we're making friends. And then they're like, all right, you're out. And you're like,
And I know it was also challenging to me personally, because, like I said, like, I have trouble with, like, schedules and maintaining things, because I'm, like, a quiet, like, anxious person. I've always had trouble, like, raising my hand in class, answering questions, doing group work, and stuff like that. So I was trying to, like, get, I don't know, kind of better myself in a way. So I was, like, forcing myself to actually, like, participate, answer some questions, ask some questions, because I've never been good at asking questions. Whenever I was confused, I would either just stay confused or just try to figure it out myself.
For the teachers who just call on the kids being silent, stop. Because you're calling on people that are like me and Ashley, and then you make us go to bed stressed, and this is all we can think about is being called on, either saying the wrong answer or not knowing the answer. And it just ruins your whole day. It's just not good, because my teachers used to have flashcards with my name on it, so I was always tense and stressed out in that class. It doesn't make you pay attention more. If anything, it makes you zone out more, because you're so just, like, stressed. You're like, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to look stupid, and oh my god, like, why can't they just leave me alone? And
yeah, I know for me, I've talked to Makayla about this, but a big problem I have is my attention just, like, wanders. So it's not that I'm, like, not trying to pay attention. There have been times where I've, like, been so focused on trying to focus that I wasn't focused. And just, like, my mind just will wander so much. And so, like, I'll miss some of what was being said. And that always gave me such bad anxiety, because I'm just like, what if I get called on? And I just completely spaced, like, what was happening. I'm not dumb. I know what the answer, like, I don't know, because I just, like, couldn't focus on that. And, like, I was able to get myself always caught back up and, like, figure things out later. But it was just, like, in the moment, like, I wasn't, like, retaining a lot.
Let me just say that
it was so bad.
College was easier than high school.
Yeah.
Homework-wise and just ease-wise. Like, I was able to keep up better. I was getting better grades. Like, I got 4.0 GPAs quite a few times in college, and I had to struggle in high school to remain a 3.7 or sometimes a 3.5. It was like high school was so much harder, and then high school will go, that's what we were training for. You're like, no, I would want college to be harder because I signed up for it. I'm going into it knowing that college is going to be more work, it's going to be harder, you're going to have to study more, you know, things like that. I don't, like college, high school I'm forced to go, so you should make it this hard, but it was the most difficult thing. College was a breeze compared to high school. So if
you're an incoming college freshman and we've been stressing you out slightly, let this be a little, like, ease off your shoulders. I mean, it depends on what you do, obviously. Some majors are going to be way harder than others, but in general, like, the workloads were way easier, and I feel like the teachers were much more forgiving. Because college professors, if you're having trouble with something or something's coming up in your personal life, talk to your professors. I know people say it all the time. People are like, yeah, sure, okay. But it's like,
true.
Talk to them, and, like, a lot of them are there to, like, help you and will want to work something out because, like,
they would
give ease to, like, people if, like, you're dealing with, like, a family loss or, like, having, like, mental problems or whatever. Like, they'll work something out with you, but you have to let them know ahead of time.
Yes, that's the thing. If you let them know the day the assignment's due, they're not going to believe you.
Yeah, because if you wait until, like, it's due or if it's already late, then they're going to be like, well, too bad, you should have told me. But if you tell them, like, while you're working on it and to still give time, they can still give you the time to, like, help you and be like, okay, here's what we can do. We can work something out. So basically, that's what we can say.
Yeah, like, there was one time, there was one class that I had an essay due every week. Stressful. But there was this one essay that I didn't do good on, and since I did good on all my other essays, he, like, sat next to me and he's like, don't tell anyone that I'm letting you do this because I don't let anybody, like, rewrite their stuff. But he's like, but this is unusual for you, so I'm going to let you go ahead and redo it. Just fix your mistakes. Here's your paper back, and just hand it back into me next week. So, like, if you're always, like, turning stuff in and you have, like, one little blip, or, like, something like that, you just didn't have a good paper, they'll work with you. Like, they're actual human beings that you could go up to after class, and they save time for you to talk to them, too. It took me a little bit to get comfortable doing that, but because you're in college, you'll tend to have the same teachers. So for all 4 years, my teachers knew me in and out because I had this, like, a handful, and I had them, like, every single year. So, like, I grew with them, so I got more comfortable.
This was also harder as a transfer student because they didn't know you, and because they already had, like, connections and relationships with the other students. They weren't, I don't know, I think it's just a me thing where teachers, because I've never really had teachers reach out to me or ask how I'm doing or how I've been or, like, ask how my work's doing because I've always managed to maintain decent grades. So nobody's ever really reached out to be like, are you struggling with anything? Can I help you with anything? I also, like, people will have, like, good relationships and, like, connections with some teachers. They'll have a really good bond with the teacher and they'll be, like, their favorite teacher. But I don't think I really had that. Like, I had a few teachers that I did really like, and I had a couple in college who did, like, really encourage me, which was, like, really great.
Yeah.
But, especially my arts teacher, when I was in the painting and mural class, she was so great.
Yeah, if you go to Keene, you'll see her mural.
Yeah, I painted a mural. Oh, my class did, but I had, like, my own specific section in it. That's in our the Night Owl Cafe.
Yeah, send us a picture if you find it.
Yeah, I don't think they would know which one. Basically, it's if you know the Born in the USA Bruce Springsteen album, it's that perspective on a column. And he's holding a sizzler in his hand, but it's, so sizzler's basically like a wrap.
Yeah.
That the school is known for.
I can also say, so for other transfers going to college, the other thing that I noticed that Ashley was struggling with, was getting a minor. Because it was almost too late by then to do what she wanted. Like, for example, she wanted to do film, but there was too many credits and she wouldn't have technically finished it on time.
Because I met with, like, one of her, like, favorite teachers who she got along with, and, like, she was probably your teacher. Like, I was talking about, like, everybody seems to have their own teacher. Like, she was your teacher. And I went in to talk to her because I was like, I want to add this in. I think I can do it. I think I can pull it off. And she basically told me, like, No, I don't think you can. If you want, you can take a couple of these film classes, but I don't think you can pull off the minor. So it was like, well,
and she's pretty encouraging.
Confidence.
And she's pretty encouraging. So at least you knew before you went in and stressed because they suggest if you want a minor, you decide by sophomore year.
And then, but it's like at that point, I had already missed that.
Yep.
And what was I just gonna say?
You ended up.
Oh, so she said I could take them. So I did look into taking the film classes, but they were in spots that I couldn't take them. So basically, you have to make your own schedule. So each class might have a few different sections, so you can choose like which day and time, but you have to figure out your schedule. It is a puzzle. You have to make sure classes don't interfere. They can't be at the same time as others. You have to figure out your schedule.
Your advisor can help if you need help.
Oh yeah, your advisor can definitely help. I preferred to basically whenever I went to meet with my advisor, I only did it a couple times only because it was like required or recommended to me or whatever. I already have my schedule mapped out because it's just something that I like to do ahead of time, just to be like, okay, this is here, and I had like a little bit more control over what I was doing. And I would make it like fully done out, and I would bring it to my advisor and be like, what do you think of this? And he'd be like, oh, you already did it all. It seems good. So
yeah, I used to send emails to going, you think this works out? Because I had a few problems with my schedule because I was told the wrong thing. I was told that I would only have to take like 3 classes my last semester, but that wasn't true. So like I had some mix-ups to the point that I had to ask a teacher to sign me ahead to go into a class ahead of class, and then I went backwards into class that I had to take to get to that one. So it's a whole thing. So make sure, like, just because they say something, it doesn't mean they're 100% correct. You need to go and double check it yourself.
Yeah, always so we had, like, an online thing to, like, check, like, what classes we need, which ones are done, what our options are.
That was harder for me.
I know, like I said before, this was a struggle with me with the odd credits that I had. Always, like, go in and, like, double check and make sure that everything matches up, and this can be really challenging. I know it got challenging for me a few times, but if you need help from your advisor, go get it. It's super important.
And just double check what they said is correct.
Yeah, that
because they deal with a lot, so I'm sure sometimes, their mind just escapes a little bit. But
yeah, because they're dealing with a lot of students.
Yeah, in their own classes and whatnot. But yeah, just double check. Because I had quite a few problems with my schedule. So basically, I started out as a film production major, and then for critical studies, it was just I don't remember how many more classes it was, maybe 3 to 4 to be a double major. So I did that, but then I was also having a minor in journalism, and that sounds like a lot, but I only had to take 4 classes a semester. So it was well balanced, and I gotta say the good thing about Keene is they don't want you taking more than 5 a semester because they want you to succeed in the classes that you are doing.
And then see, like, when I was at Manchester, people were like, okay, it wasn't that bad because it's like less work in the class. I was drowning in homework every night. I was miserable, but I first started out with 6 classes because the freshmen had to take this stupid cornerstone class, which was like an orientation class, which I don't even remember. It was useless. Nobody liked it. So that made me have 6 classes. And then other than that, I had 5 classes every other semester, I think, except the last one.
Which I told Ashley was a lot.
Yeah, I was miserable. I was so stressed out. I had so much homework. It's a lot of reading. And I have, like, a struggle where... So one thing I don't like about college and school is when they make you, they make you, they'll make you read the chapters the night before.
Yeah.
And you have to be prepared with all that knowledge. But I can't retain reading textbooks, so that was hell for me.
Textbook reading... If it was more than 5 pages, I just couldn't do it. My eyes would be swimming, and I wouldn't retain any of it.
Yeah, I had to read, like, full chapters, and they were, like, at least, like, 20 to 30 pages, and then I had, like, 5 classes to do that for, and it was awful. I don't think I read a textbook at all. I barely skated by. Somehow I still got really good grades there, but I managed to, like, finesse my way, so, like, I think it's just because I'm lucky and I test well, just because, like, I can, like, kind of pick out, like, the main things, but, yeah, so I was struggling a lot.
Yeah, with mine, sometimes I even had to watch films on my own and read things and then write about them. And you know how much time that is? Because the films that I usually had to watch were, like, 3 hours, and Ashley seen me had to, like, watch these films, and, like, I was banging my head against the wall, and then she was watching me, because you also have to take notes while you're watching it, so here I am going, yeah, and then I have to relate it to, like, take things out of a reading and go, yeah, and the film was just, like, usually sometimes in a foreign language, so you're also reading subtitles, and I'm just like,
There was a few times where she's like, Ashley, can you come down here and watch this with me so I can at least, like, stay awake?
Not, because I understand why we had to watch those. It's just obviously you have tastes. You have preference, taste, and I was just like, because they were just so long. And when you watch films for like 4 years of your life, every single day and week, and you're writing notes and you're doing readings connecting to them, I don't watch movies anymore.
So sidetrack back to the main conversation. So with minors, so, like, where I was saying I would, like, map out my schedules and everything and know them ahead of time. So, like, I did the work and, like, managed to, like, figure out a way that I could have done it, but they still didn't believe enough in me. So then I was like, okay, but I still wanted a minor. And let this be known, you do not have to get a minor. You don't have to double major. Do whatever you want. You want to do, like, I'm not going to say, like, the bare minimum, but, like, if you want just a bachelor's, do that. You don't need anything else. I just wanted to push myself, and I wanted to have a minor just to be able to say, like, I have a minor. And so basically I had to, like, decide, like, okay, what am I going to do? And I think I was between film, early childhood education, and sociology. And early childhood education, it's very, like, linear, so you have to take one class before the other. And where I was starting, some classes they only offer certain semesters.
Yeah, that makes it difficult, so pay attention to those ones.
I physically could not have done that one, so I ruled that out just because of, like, how much time I had left. And film, I didn't have the support to.
Well,
and then so
you
I was
probably
like,
would have been too stressed.
I was already stressed to begin with, so it wasn't that much. One extra class, big whoop.
I mean, if you guys think you can do it, then do it. Because I was put into journalism by accident. Because I, at the time, was really interested in TV. Because I know TV is different from movies. I know this. It's a different process, you know, because of the episodes versus one long film. And I was interested, and I remember talking to my advisor about it. I'm like, do we have, like, any courses in TV? And she's like, oh, this is TV production. And I was like, yeah, okay. And it was journalism. And I'm not a quitter. Journalism was stressful, and I hated it. But I was good at it, which sucked because I won 2 awards in journalism when I was there. I won 2 awards in journalism, none in film. When film was what I
didn't get any awards, so...
If it was what I went for, but journalism is too stressful for me. I'm capable of doing it, but I'm never going to do anything with it. It's so stressful.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I was so stressed doing it. My mom's like, why don't you just quit? I'm like, I can't quit now.
She was like, Ashley, I have to go film this place for journalism. You're coming with me. So I was like, okay. Any excuse to get out of doing my own stuff. I would get my stuff done. I never didn't get it done.
Then she would just watch me film, like, B-roll. So I was like, here I am just recording, like, a stop sign, for example. Here I am recording a street. And here I
was honestly just happy to, like, get out and about and go explore places and just do something. I think there may have been, like, a time or two where I was like, what do you mean I can't go with you? And you were just like, I can't bring you in. I'm just like, but why?
I was like, it's unprofessional.
I was like, so what? But yeah, so I ended up doing the sociology minor since I had already had a few sociology courses under my belt, so it was already, like, half taken care of. So I went through, like, a bunch of work to, like, get that in. So I had a sociology minor. Sorry, I don't know.
I wish they showed in the diplomas, because when we got a diploma,
Yeah.
I was so upset that it wasn't on there. I'm like, so I did all this work for it not to be on there?
Yeah, it's like, how are you going to prove that you did it? Like, I have a minor in this, but it's not in your official, like, documentation.
Yeah.
So what are they going to have to do? Go through all your college transcripts, which we can't even easily get into? We have to call the school and ask for them and pay for them.
It's stupid that you have to pay for it. We can definitely talk about college part 2 towards the end of our year, because that was definitely more exciting. More upsetting because we didn't get a graduation. We'll have to talk about, but this is just the beginning of our journey. Mm-hmm. And mostly this is just letting you transfers know what it's like. Because I witnessed Ashley go through it, and I know there's things that they could do better. It was...
And I knew a couple of other transfers from the classes. Like, somebody that I was in a few classes with, she actually went to MCC with me, and we were in classes together, and she also transferred to Keene State, and I think she also said that it was hell for her, and just basically a lot of other transfers, if you ask, it was awful, because it was so difficult. They did not make it easy. They had to go through unnecessary hoops, and
just a reminder, Ashley went from a New Hampshire school to a New Hampshire school, so technically it should have been
that
easier.
They're set in a program to make it easy.
Yeah. Like, they're quote-unquote connected.
It's like schools. I had to jump through loops, and it was like...
Yeah, didn't you have to, like, retake a class that you technically already took?
Probably. I can't remember it.
I remember you going, I already took this. Very similar.
Probably. I just can't remember what it was.
Yeah. I just know, watching Ashley go through it, that while it's cheaper to do what Ashley did, sometimes it's just easier to do an all 4-year same school, because then you'll potentially be able to make more friends that way. You'll have more of a community. You'll be more comfortable. You know, I mean, but that depends on you too, because me and Ashley are very different from a lot of people.
Yeah.
But, you know, for people that are like us, then I suggest staying at one place the whole time, anxiety-wise and stress-wise. If you can't, that's okay too. Feel free to push yourself. Ashley's fine. She came out fine.
Now, but I was stressed the whole time.
But she also had me, so...
for half of it.
To help her out when she was in Keene. So, but I don't know. If you want to hear a part 2 of, like, our later years...
Yeah,
more
like
of when
it
Ashley
was, like,
came.
During the middle of the years.
Or if you want to hear more about Keene itself, like, as an institution... I know I have a lot to say about that. Ashley witnessed me fighting a lot of people for certain things.
She had to jump through loops just to talk to teachers. I was able to talk to them, but I just didn't really get, like, a lot of help.
Yeah, see, mine, they're easy to talk to. It's just getting to get to them it was difficult sometimes.
Yeah, office hours can be weird.
But I did love all of my teachers. I never had a problem with any of my teachers. They were all very beloved to me, all very wicked smart.
There wasn't a teacher that I didn't like. I think if there was one, there would be one in MCC who, she wasn't a bad person. People always said she was a better advisor than a teacher, and I had her for an advisor too. And she was really nice. I just didn't like her teaching style. It didn't go well with me. It was very technical. It was for abnormal psych, so it's an important thing to know when you're a psychology student, but I didn't retain, like, anything out of that class, which is why I'm, like, I don't feel like I'm that knowledgeable and stuff, just because of the way it was. It was a very heavy textbook reading. That's how we were learning, with, like, a few, like, PowerPoints, and it's, like, that's how I get my best, is through, like, PowerPoints, being told the information, like, giving examples and everything, like, telling me to sit down and read a textbook. Might as well just have me stare at a wall. So.
But yeah, we can definitely give tips and tricks. You can ask us questions. We can even probably show some of our work or talk about some of our work.
Although I don't know how much I'm going to be able to access now, since the school randomly cut us out of our school accounts. So I didn't get to save a lot of work that I had.
I wrote mine all in Google Docs, so I still have all my stuff, and I still have it printed because I actually kept most of my work from high school as well.
I have a bunch of stuff from high school too.
So same with college. I just tend to keep it because I'm a film student, so I go, I'll never know if I need these terms again, or
I still have
Some of
quite a
this
few of my
research.
textbooks. Also, be prepared to pay like hundreds in textbooks because like I needed like 7 different books for one class. It was like not like textbooks, but like story like chapter. I still haven't read them again. I went through that class without reading books. I'm gonna read them eventually.
Yeah, I actually had a lot more textbooks than I did.
I had like 7 for one. I had like 3 in another. So like however many classes you have, expect like several textbooks.
Well, depending on your major.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll find free PDFs for you too when they do that. That's great. One of my teachers did that. She found a free PDF online that we were able to access. Others will get the textbook. You don't even use it. Others will get make you get textbooks where you use a lot.
Rent them through the library for the semester if they have it available.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. So I usually either bought them or rented them through the bookstore or through like Amazon or whatever. Basically, whatever was cheapest is what I did because they get expensive.
They do. Yeah.
I think I paid like almost $400 one semester for all my books.
See, for me, it wasn't textbooks. It was getting supplies.
Mm-hmm.
So for my film classes, like, get gloves that you can handle hot lights with, or, things like that, or, get hard drives so you can put your work on it and submit it. And for me, it was supplies, not textbooks, that I ended up spending a lot of money on. But also, if you're upfront with your teacher about affording things,
they can also try and find some
they can also
substitutes for you.
They can also help you with that. Or if you have a friend in that class too, that could help if you can't afford the textbook.
Yeah.
But there is ways, so don't feel discouraged about any of that.
No.
I just know I personally preferred having my own thing and having it physical in my hand.
Yeah.
But that's just me. It could be different for everybody.
It's definitely easier to read, just a pain to carry. Because when you need to bring them in class and you're carrying like 4 textbooks because you have like a bunch of in a row and you don't know which ones you're going to need. That got a little annoying. A little bit of back pain.
I had 2 backpacks going on because I would have like my computer in it and then all my other things because, like I said, I sometimes would only have classes 2 to 3 days a week, but they would be back to back, so I don't have time to eat sometimes, and I didn't have time to go back to the dorm room, so I would just carry everything with me and just go class to class. Ashley would bring me snacks usually.
I would smuggle her like bananas from the dining hall.
Things like that I would eat between classes. Bring snacks, fully suggested.
Definitely.
Water, for sure.
Bring snacks, bring water. Also, like, especially be prepared for long classes.
Oh, God, yes. It was
the shortest classes I ever had were an hour 40 minutes. The longest one I ever had was 3.5 hours. But I know some people who had like labs that were 5 hours long. And so
yeah,
be prepared.
It's hard when you go to
just stop recording.
Probably. We didn't get to say goodbye for our podcast.
Our camera died on us.
We just had a lot of things going on for that one.
Yeah. I think we were closing up and wrapping it up anyways. So thanks for watching.
Please like, subscribe, share, comment.
We'll talk about more college stories later. What it's like to live in a dorm, what it was like ending the year for us.
In a pandemic.
And let us know if there's something you want us to talk about. We're always up for new topic ideas.
Yes.
And hearing input and other stories to feed off of.
Yes.
But that is it for this one. Remember to leave a like, leave a comment, interact with some other people who may be here, and of course, as always, subscribe. That too.
And as you can see, we're in our gaming area, so be sure to check that out as well.
That's coming soon.
Okay. Bye, guys.